great to win, great to come back. I had no idea it was the largest in NFL history. Something like that doesn't happen to average people. So I'm proud of the way the group did that.
What's the story with the jacket, and what would you have worn had the comeback not?
My wife dresses me, so she put it out last night, and I looked at her like, I don't know, and she nodded, you got to do it. So here we are.
That was the voice of Kirk Cousins talking about the ridiculous jacket he was wearing post-game. Look, my wife said you got to do it, so here we are. Speaks for every husband in America. I feel you, Kirk. I feel you.
She put out the ref jersey for you today? She's like, listen,
yeah,
I got something for you.
Yeah, my wife was pissed too. She gets it. She's angry. She was angry.
I like Kirk Cousins says that doesn't happen to average people. I feel like I definitely wouldn't have made that comeback, and I'm pretty much an average person. I don't fit into the Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins mold. Yeah. Good for you, Kirk. Good win.
A massive game for Kirk Cousins, 35-54. I feel like all of this was in the second half, by the way. 460 yards, 4 touchdowns, over 30 fantasy points. And a lot of that was due to a massive game from not Justin Jefferson, but KJ Osborne. And Kirk Cousins had a lot to say about Osborne after the game.
KJ, I thought, was phenomenal today. He's a guy that he could do that every week. But you've got Justin, you've got Adam, you've got TJ, you got Dalvin, you got Alex Madison. And so it's been hard to get him the football as much as he deserves it and has shown the ability to deserve it. So he's a guy that all season long I've kind of felt, we need to get him more targets, get him more opportunities because he's the real deal. It's just been hard to get him as involved as he was today, and he showed it today what he's capable of. I have total confidence in him to be an elite receiver in this league.
I've been saying this for a few weeks now, but I think Justin Jefferson's been holding back KJ Osborne this whole time. And, and they need to stop throwing the ball to Justin Jefferson. Yeah,
I mean, look, there's a bunch of crazy things. I mean, you never know what can happen in the NFL. As we sit there, for those of you, we have a screen up of the fantasy wide receiver leaders in Week 15 in the first round of the playoffs. So Zay Jones, KJ Osborne, 1 and 2, just like we drew it up. Russell Gage at 5, Noah Brown at 6. Jahan Dotson at 9. I mean, again, you got Jefferson and A.J. Brown in there, and Godwin and Tyreek, but and Waddle, of course, at 10. But still, just unbelievable. I played against a guy that I just had like the worst. Like I played against a guy that started Osborne against me. I played against a guy that had Zay Jones and Jalen Waddle. Just stupid. What are you gonna do? So about the Vikings game, 2 things here. Specifically, again, sort of a perfect storm. Down big, but in a dome environment against a defense that was playing a little bit over its head. The fact of the matter is that, again, not trying to bash the refs again, but the fact of the matter is that had those defensive touchdowns been called correctly, they're not down, you know what I mean? So they ended up getting the ball, but not having a defensive score, and so, at least on the second one. So I think that those things also contributed to the craziness here. And then specifically to KJ Osborne, this is his second game this year with over 50 receiving yards. It's a great story. It's a great NFL story. And the Vikings, it's unbelievable that they managed to make this incredible comeback. But the Colts are generally bad against the slot. I mean, you think about Christian Kirk having a huge game against them early in the season. They have been really good against perimeter wide receivers. So I'm not surprised in a game in which they were throwing, a ton, right? I mean, Kirk Cousins threw the ball 54 times in this game. And so in a game in which you're having over 50 passing attempts, I'm not surprised that KJ Osborne got the looks that he did. 16 targets in this one to tie Justin Jefferson. Thielen also got into the end zone. But Kirk's right. As long as all those guys are healthy, right? KJ Osborne, it's a great story, but I can't imagine that you're starting him in the fantasy playoffs. I wouldn't expect this next week against the Giants.
No, and there's a very weird line in that game. The Vikings are only 3.5-point favorites at home against the Giants, which to me is way too small. The Giants are not very good. They played all right last night, but I don't know. There's this thing of lol, the Vikings are frauds. The Vikings are fine. They're a good team. They're a solid team, and they're more than 3.5 points better at home than the Giants, I think. I think that'll close 4.5.
That's a weird one. I could see them being 3.5-point favorites if the game was in New York.
Yes.
But the game being in New York. Anyway, That was a weird one. By the way, for those of you listening at home, I'm now changed into a Saquon Barkley jersey. I am honoring my bet. The Commanders did lose to the Giants. I bet, Pete, that I would wear a Giants player jersey on the air. So,
man of honor.
So there you go. Even though, again, I think there should be an asterisk by that victory. The fact of the matter is the Giants did win, and I'm honoring that. So I will wear Saquon the rest of the show.
Continuing with our weekend Warriors, J.K. Dobbins looked healthy, guys. I think that's the most important thing. J.K. Dobbins on only 13 carries, 125 yards. We know the Ravens, without Lamar Jackson, were going to have to find something in the running game from the backfield, and Dobbins explodes in this one on the ground.
He did, and he looked, to your point, healthier because he was explosive the week before, but then also was limping around a little bit, but he looked better in this game. I don't know how the Ravens didn't win this game, let alone cover the spread. It was very, very strange, and I think there was a thought, like there was a lot of things swirling around. Why didn't they just run the ball more? They're averaging 7 yards per carry. Well, the thing is like if you are running the ball more and more, then the other teams will start to load up to stop the run. So I think that was an element, but certainly Dobbins is the guy you want in this backfield going forward, and they have a very favorable matchup against Atlanta coming up.
Yeah, they really do. Nearly 5 yards before first contact, so getting great blocking as well. They've got the run game really going, and like it's not like Edwards was bad. Edwards was fine. Yeah. He also ran well. He wasn't running as well as Dobbins. But I agree with Jay. Dobbins is the guy you want moving forward. But it was nice to see in a game in which he should have smashed. He did. He would have liked a touchdown as well because he's not getting a ton of passing game work. He only had one reception in this game, so he needs volume and yardage. But he's getting that to be a viable RB2.
Yep.
Saturday night, Barry, I saw you tweet Raheem must start and. Boy, I hope everybody listened. 136 rushing yards on 17 carries. It's kind of crazy that the Dolphins didn't just feed him, especially as the weather got even worse throughout the game.
Super weird play calling, I think, in some cases. Because, you're just like, well, just keep running. Like,
they couldn't tackle him.
Like, I get you wanted to mix it up and you don't want them load, but I'm also a believer of, like, I'm going to keep doing this till you stop it. Till you prove to me you can stop it. Again, the Dolphins' offensive line was just dominating the Bills, and he sort of had his way. The other thing about Mostert is he's got that speed, that explosiveness that, if he gets a crease, he can break one. And so I think that with Jeff Wilson out, Mostert made the most of his opportunity. He's now had back-to-back games with over 70% of the snaps, 156 yards from scrimmage in this one as well. Again, you'd like more passing game usage from Mostert, but, a viable high-end flex, low-end RB2 if Wilson's in there, and if Wilson's out, borderline RB1, high-end, low-end RB1, high-end RB2.
He reminded me of the Dameon Pierce game against the Eagles on the Thursday night where he's just breaking the tackles. It was just insane. And I do think a good thing for Mostert is that Tua was terrible in that game. His stats didn't look that bad, but he should have had multiple picks, including a pick six. He was not good. This is 2 weeks in a row of Tua being very poor. No conditions in the defense were tough, but maybe they do lean a bit more into the run.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. They're home to the Packers next week, so we'll see how that plays out. We mentioned Baltimore is playing the Falcons next week. Tyler Algier, guys. Yeah. I mean, Cordero Patterson got in the end zone, but Tyler Algier, in the first look at a Desmond Ridder-led offense,
wasn't pretty.
Tyler Algier had a season-high 18 touches, and his third game this year with over 100 total yards. And by the way, looked like the better running back. It's pretty interesting. He's out there in a bunch of leagues.
Yeah, and if they're leaning into youth, which they clearly are, because Desmond Ridder's not going to help you win games at this point, then why not go with the rookie in Algier?
The Mariota to Ridder transition was like the meme of the guy wearing the shirt and he's holding up the same shirt.
Right.
Unbox it. That's literally what the Falcons offense felt like. No difference in the pass game.
Yeah, Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk was on Fantasyful pregame saying their expectation is, I think I'm quoting him directly here, but Florio said, talking to sources around Atlanta, the expectation is they're not making any adjustments for Ridder. They're going to run the exact same offense. They just hope slightly more efficiently with Ridder than Mariota, and that's exactly what they did. They continued to be run heavy. They will be run heavy next week against Baltimore. And so Algier suddenly, signs of life in that Atlanta backfield. I agree with you. We know Patterson's, I think, 32. He's not the future in Atlanta. They need to see what they have in Tyler Algier.
To the game that Jay's been dying to talk about, Broncos-Cardinals, his favorite game of the weekend. Trace McSorley, Brett Rippon, But the story was Latavius Murray.
Yeah, Latavius Murray, the featured superstar of an NFL offense in 2022. It's beautiful to see. Great story. Latavius Murray, I mean, he's the guy that they're giving work to. They don't want to throw the ball, certainly not with Brett Rippon, maybe not even with Russell Wilson. And yeah, as you can see, he went off against the Cardinals, 24 carries, 130 yards, gets in the end zone, 20-plus fantasy points. What more can you want from Latavius Murray, Matthew?
Well, look, we expected him. I mean, he made the love list this week because we expected massive volume, and that's exactly what Latavius Murray got with the 25 touches and positive game script as well, obviously. It was a good matchup. Marlon Mack. I mean, by the way, every time you think you're done with Marlon Mack, he shows back up. He also cashes in a touchdown. By the way, he ran well as well, 5 for 37. I mean, he averaged over 7 yards a carry. He also cashes in a touchdown. They're using Marlon Mack basically in the Mike Boone role. He caught 4 passes. So in deeper leagues, potentially Marlon Mack, who will, they'll be at the Rams next week on a
weird game. Really weird game.
Oh my God. But yeah, I mean,
the ugly of the ugly.
Like
Game's pick. Market doesn't know what to do with it.
Really brutal. Actually, but like in all the games that he's played with Denver this year, Latavius Murray is averaging 16 touches a game. Like he is a volume-based RB2 and will continue to produce. I think you can trust what you're seeing here. Like they can't do a lot in Denver, but they can run the ball, and Latavius Murray is getting the volume to make him viable.
It's hard to believe he started the year on the practice squad to compare to the role Latavius Murray is in right now.
It's his team. It's his team.
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, like, yeah, you spend $250 million on a quarterback, and then your offense features a running back you literally claimed off waivers.
Yeah, Latavius Murray.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and RotoWorld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, okay, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from RotoWorld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.